Deuteronomy 16. Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover to increasing existence, thy God. For in the month of Abib, God as a verb and noun, thy God, brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. There's symbolic lessons to that, whether it's literal or not. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto God as verb and noun, thy God, of the flock and the herd in the place which God, as a noun and verb, shall choose to place his name there. Thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of affliction, for thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy border 7 days. Neither shall there anything of the flesh which thou sacrificest the first day at even remain all night until the morning. Now, if you look at the Talmuds, there's a lot of talk about these sorts of passages in particular, and some of it is like you don't follow the commandment, but not don't follow the commandment. It's this because of this, because of this, because of this, and then eventually you don't follow the commandment. Well, I mean, that's what these rabbis are saying in the Gemara in particular. I don't think the Mishnah does much of that, but thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates, which God as a verb and noun, thy God, giveth thee, but the place which God as a verb and noun, thy God, shall choose to place his name in, there thou shalt sacrifice the Passover even at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt, and thou shalt roast it and eat it in the place which God as a verb and noun thy God shall choose. And thou shalt turn in the morning and go unto thy tents. 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to God as a verb and noun thy God. Thou shalt do no work therein. Now the ingredients to leaven, of course, you wouldn't drive them out of your country or whatnot. It's just the bread that has been produced. "7 weeks shalt thou number unto thee. Begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as thou beginnest to put the sickle to the grain. And thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto God as a verb and noun, thy God, with the tribute of a freewill offering of thine hand, which thou shalt give unto increasing existence, thy God, according as established thy God hath blessed thee. And thou shalt rejoice before God as a verb and noun, thy God, thou and thy son and thy daughter and thy manservant and thy maidservant and the Levite that is within thy gates, and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow that are in thy midst, in the place which God as a verb and noun thy God hath chosen to place his name there. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and thou shalt observe to do these statutes. Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days. After that thou hast gathered in from thy threshing floor and from thy wine press. Any juice press. It's not just where you make booze. Can you call wine booze? Anyways. And thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant and thy maidservant, and the Levite, the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, that are within thy gates. 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto God as a verb and noun, thy God, in the place which established shall choose, because increasing existence thy God shall bless thee in all thine increase, and in all the works of thine hands. Therefore thou shalt surely rejoice. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before God is verbed down by God, in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and on the feast of tabernacles. And they shall not appear before God as a verb and noun empty. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of God as a verb and noun, thy God, which he hath given thee. And they recommend to read the Haftaroth, Isaiah 54:11 to 55:5. And verse 18:22 starts section 48, ship theme, more like warlords, but judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates, which God as a verb and noun thy God giveth thee, throughout thy tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. Thou shalt not wrest judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift, for a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. That which is altogether just shalt thou follow, that thou mayest live and inherit the land which God as a verb and noun thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not plant thee a grove of any trees near unto the altar of God as a verb and noun thy God, which thou shalt make thee, neither shalt thou set thee up any pillar which God as a verb and noun thy God hateth. Now, Kametz Bazik is a note for verse 16, and one of the things that people don't realize is these war chieftains and stuff, with exception of some tribal religions, domestic violence, mistreatments of women and stuff like that is far less common in those parts of the world.